Welcome back for another edition of Calhoun County's Most Wanted. We appreciate you crime fighters helping us out, trying to make Calhoun County a better and safer place for all of us. I'm Chris Wright, along with John Garlick, our Chief Deputy here in Calhoun County.
Hey, Chris.
Good to see you, John.
Good to be here, everybody. How are you? There we go.
It's definitely good to be here as opposed to the Carolina coast right now.
Yes, yes. Big hurricane bearing down on the southeast coast. My cousin's at the Naval Academy is a sailing crew guy, and they are pulling boats out of the water as we speak, getting ready.
Over 1 million people evacuated, last I heard, and it's probably more than that now. And
all those barrier islands and those poor little horses. They got those horses out there. And you know they evacuate them. They catch them and evacuate them.
Yeah, and that brings up a point there. That takes time to do that. And I know we've got several days warning here on this storm, and we've been talking about it, but people don't take it seriously quickly enough. And there's a lot of things that you want to do that even if you do have a couple of days, you don't necessarily have time. They're already telling you get out. It's important to be prepared, whether you're in East Alabama or along the coast or wherever, for the dangers that might hit your community, so that when an evacuation is called for, or if a tornado is barreling down on your particular neighborhood, you are ready to go.
That's right. You should be prepared. You know, not that we have had to evacuate any time around here, but we've had some very severe storms and tornadoes. And some of these hurricanes, I doubt this one, but there's several stacking up in the Atlantic. One of these hurricanes may affect our weather, and they have in the past with thunderstorms, some low tornadoes, but usually winds 40 to 60 miles an hour, and that can be power losses, not able to get to the grocery store. So stocking up and having some food you can eat, having water stored, and if we have to evacuate, having a place to go and knowing how. Very important stuff. Having
some batteries so that you can turn on that radio, and having a radio. There are more and more households these days that don't have radios in them because we're used to listening to it on our phone, but you're not going to be able to stream over the internet if the power and all that's out and your cell phone tower goes out. Now, a lot of cell phones, you can download an app that will activate an FM chip in that phone, so you can actually use your phone as an FM radio. iPhones, you can't do it. They don't have it in the iPhones. The newer models, and they haven't activated it for the older models. But a lot of the Android phones and some of the other phones, if you download, like Next Radio is one of those apps, you can use your cell phone as a radio to hear those emergency announcements.
That's pretty cool. But I have my old transistor radio I got when I was in grammar school still.
Yeah, make sure you get batteries for it. All right, we need to talk about the folks that got arrested this week and the great work that our viewers have done.
Yes, look at that. We got 3 people last week, bringing our count to 4,258 people brought to justice.
And we're not going to stop anytime soon. You guys keep calling in the information. We're going to keep on asking you for more help, and we'll have the first half of this week's lineup coming up next here on Calhoun County's Most Wanted.
And welcome to this week's edition of Calhoun County's Most Wanted. First up in our lineup this week, Michael Fleming. Mr. Fleming, last known to be living in Anniston, he's wanted for a probation violation on possession of a controlled substance. And take a look at Jeffrey Clark. Mr. Clark, last known to be living in Anniston, he's wanted for failure to appear on possession of a controlled substance, use and possession of drug paraphernalia, attempting to elude, and a bond revocation on possession of a controlled substance. And this is Gloria Urbanak. Miss Urbanak, last known to be living in Alexandria. She's wanted for domestic violence, 3rd harassment. And please take a look at Betty Roper. Miss Roper, last known to be living in Anniston. She's wanted for failure to pay on manufacture of a controlled substance. And this is Brandy Fulmer. Miss Fulmer, last known to be living in Anniston. She's wanted for probation violation on possession of a controlled substance. And meet Jimmy LaCroix. Mr. LaCroix, last known to be living in Anniston, he's wanted for failure to appear on possession of a controlled substance, use and possession of drug paraphernalia, and a certain person forbidden to possess a pistol. And last up for the first half of our lineup, Melissa Ferguson. Miss Ferguson, last known to be living in Jacksonville, she's wanted for failure to appear on possession of a controlled substance. And that's it for the first half of our lineup. Stay tuned for the second half later in the show.
All right, we'll have some bad guys for you again here in just a few minutes. But John, right now, there's a lot of people complaining because we're already seeing Halloween things showing up in the stores.
That's right.
So we're going to be even worse than that.
We are.
Kelly Pierce is here with us to go ahead and start talking about Christmas in the beginning of September.
Christmas in September. I'm excited to talk a little bit about the Empty Stocking Gala. I hope that's what we're going to talk about. It is an event that takes place in November the 2nd, but we are already selling our tickets. You can go online at emptystocking.net, and this is an organization that started 1989.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
1989.
And some people say, well, why do you have it so early? It's a Christmas-themed event. Why don't you have it at least after Thanksgiving? But it's because there's a reason why you're having this party. It's not just to celebrate the Christmas season. It's so that others can celebrate the Christmas season in a more joyful manner.
Exactly. We have it early in November because what the goal of this event is to help our children that are in the DHR system. 11 years ago, Sue Taylor and Colleen Roberts went to have coffee. And they were worried about the children in our community, and they said, what can we do? And they contacted DHR. DHR said the biggest thing is Christmas for our foster children. So those two got on the phone, got a group together, and we had our first Empty Stocking Gala. We started in November. The children make out their wish list. So after the Empty Stocking Gala, before Thanksgiving, Walmart in Oxford opens up their store. We go in about 6 o'clock, some of the other board members and I, and we get those wish lists, and we go through and pick those children, I keep calling them students, those children, items from their wish list, depending on their age and depending on what they want on that list. We stack those bags and we get that together. And then that way that it's ready for Christmas. We're not fighting crowds or fighting some of the items that might not be available if we wait to the 1st of December or the middle of December to try to get these gifts.
Yeah, parents know if you wait till the end,
right.
It's sometimes slim pickings, which is why I used to actually, as a single man back in the day, I would wait until after 6 p.m. on Christmas Eve, and that way it just made everything easy. Whatever they had at the Quick Mart was what people got, nice and simple.
I just go online now.
You can go online.
Yes.
Support your local businesses, John. Come on.
Lucy also goes online and buys stuff.
But we last year had over 400 children. So 400 children were served through this organization. So when you go and buy tickets and you spend that money is used for those children, over 400 in Calhoun and Cleburne counties.
Wow.
That's a lot of kids, and you think about how many children there are in this area that their home is not a permanent home. It's not their parents, maybe not their siblings around them, and boy, if you can bring one piece of real normalcy back into their life to where, you can at least count on Christmas. That makes a huge difference to these kids.
Yeah, it shows that somebody cares. They're in this environment where they feel like their parents maybe don't love them anymore, and they're with a family they're just trying to get used to, and they feel a little outcast from that maybe, and so the world's kind of turned against them, and this is nice that all of a sudden they think, wow, there's some people out there I don't even know who they are, and they care about me.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
And also you can look at it from the perspective of, obviously, first and foremost, we're helping those kids, but what about those foster parents? So many of us think, man, there's a need out there. I can't make that commitment. And maybe you can. And if you're thinking that maybe you can, there's definitely opportunity for you there. But the adults that do open up their homes and say, I'm going to be a parent to these kids. I don't know who they're going to bring me, but I'm going to love that kid and I'm going to make sure they're taken care of. A lot of them are not people living in these big fancy homes with a ton of disposable income. They need some help to be able to make that. Everything shouldn't be on their shoulders.
No, and a lot of these, they may take in 2 or 3 at a time because they really hate to split up families. And they may have children of their own too.
Right.
So it's hard for them to provide Christmas for, several children that are in their homes. And DHR a lot of times have been paying this out of their own pockets.
Wow.
So this is another way that we can help those kids and that care feel like, this, like you said, there is some sort of normalcy, because every kid wants to wake up Christmas and get presents.
All right, we need to talk some more about the event itself and
Okay.
some other things. We're going to take a quick break, and we will be back in just a moment with the second half of this week's lineup on Calhoun County's Most Wanted.
And welcome to the second half of our lineup. First up this half, Tobio Story. Mr. Story, last known to be living in Anniston, he's wanted for probation revocation on obstruction of justice by using a false identity. And this is Michelle Jones. Miss Jones, last known to be living in Birmingham, she's wanted for failure to appear for receiving stolen property first and possession of a controlled substance. And meet Jerry Moyers. Mr. Moyers, last known to be living in Anniston, he's wanted for failure to appear on theft of property third, use and possession of paraphernalia, and possession of marijuana second. And we'd like you to meet Heather Nelson. Miss Nelson, last known to be living in Alexandria, she's wanted on a probation violation for possession of a controlled substance. And this is Dylan Grizzard. Mr. Grizzard, last known to be living in Oxford, he's wanted for probation violation on obstruction of justice by using a false identity. And last up in our lineup this week, Philip Weingard. Mr. Weingard, last known to be living in Anniston, wanted for failure to appear on writing multiple worthless checks. And that's it for our lineup this week. If you know the whereabouts of these folks, please give us a call at Crime Stoppers. That number, 256-238-1414.
All right, we are back and ready to talk some more about the Empty Stocking Gala. Kelly Pierce is with us, and Kelly, we're talking about how this is so early to be talking about a Christmas event. Early for us, but you're on the board. How long have you been talking about it?
We've been talking about it all year. We just start talking about the next one after we finish up with the one in November. So we meet monthly just to make sure we're all on top of things, because it takes a little bit of effort to get the party started, so to speak.
Yeah, and one of the things that's great about the Empty Stocking Gala is it's really the event that kicks off the holiday season here in Calhoun County. And you go to this event and you see all the other people that are party goers and party hosters and stuff, and suddenly if you're at this one, you end up getting invites to all these other parties throughout the season.
Does that happen to you?
Yeah.
Huh.
We'll have to see you there. You've got to come this year, John. You can kick off your party season.
As long as you behave yourself properly at this event.
I've always been there in uniform. Maybe that's why I don't get invited to anything.
It is a really fun event. I know the last half we kind of talked about what the intent and the goal of the event's for, but it's fun. It does kind of kick off our holiday season. You get to dress up. You got a great meal. Excuse me. Tickets are $150 per couple. You can buy single tickets at $75. You got all the food you want to eat catered by Classic. They do a great job for us. Have for years. Mm-hmm. We have open bar. That's all included in your ticket. So drinks and food and dessert. I always like to include dessert. You can have all you want.
And nobody does a better job than the Empty Stocking Gala at bringing in top-notch entertainment to really get the party going.
We do. This year we have Party Nation. They've been with us for several years. It's a huge band. They take up the entire front of the building with all kind of instruments. They play music from every era, every genre. So they'll take requests. They've been a great band. They get into it with the crowd.
Don't request show tunes, John. Come on.
Yes, we could do some Broadway, John.
How about bagpipes?
Bagpipes. Maybe we could solo you on the bagpipe section. That would be a new attraction for the Empty Stocking.
It would be.
Now, I'm sure that you're selling tickets individually, but if people don't know where to find you, where can they find tickets?
They can go to emptystocking.net. That has information about the event itself. It also allows you to contact any board member, or you can purchase your tickets online. Mm-hmm. And for anyone that wanted to be a sponsor, we have a great community that gives so much to those in need. And every year we can really count on some big sponsorships. But if you're interested and haven't done one in the past, we have a gold sponsorship. It's $2,000. You get 16 tickets and 2 tables.
Oh my goodness.
A lot of publication with your name on it. Yes. You can get one of those, John.
Chris
Your
will get
name
one.
gets on all the materials. It gets announced. It's on the banners. It's a big deal. $1,000 is our silver sponsor for 8 tickets and a table. Same type of PR and publication. And then for $250, you get the PR and 2 tickets.
Very cool.
And it's tax deductible.
Yeah, and of course, the main thing is it's helping to make sure that these kids in foster care are able to have a nice Christmas and feel like they're as special as every other kid in the world.
True. We have a great time. Like I said, I love the evening. I love the dressing up, but there's nothing like that day when you're at Walmart with that wish list. Knowing that, you're picking out, and people we take our time. We don't just rush through there because we think we want to make sure this is the particular headphones they wanted, or this is a particular game they wanted. Just so, because it becomes such a part of what we do and it becomes personal for us. So it's a great reward.
Very cool. So emptystocking.net.
Emptystocking.net, November the 2nd. Hope to see y'all there.
And that's a Saturday night, right?
Friday night. Friday night.
Okay. Friday night, November the 2nd. Empty Stocking, and go to emptystocking.net to get your tickets and all the info that you need there. And Kelly, thank you so much for being here with us
guys.
this week. And
I appreciate you taking the time to let me talk about it. Of course.
all right. Enjoy the party, but not too much. All right.
I won't. I'll call John.
We'll be back in just a moment, and we will have the crazy criminal of the week, as well as our Crime Stoppers segment here on Calhoun County's Most Wanted.
And welcome to the Crime Stoppers portion of our show, where we ask your help for our investigators on these cases. First up, on August 29th, a home was burglarized on Mount Gilead Road in Jacksonville. They got away with a PlayStation 4 with a bunch of games, 5 Alabama collectible knives, and a handgun. Sometime between August 30th and August 31st, someone entered a fenced and gated area on Airport Road in Oxford. They broke into a vehicle there and a socket tool set was stolen. And between August 19th and September 1st, a residence on Post Oak Road in Alexandria was burglarized. A black Epiphone electric guitar, a .22 caliber Ruger, a jewelry box and contents, and various boxes of paperwork were stolen from that location. Sometime on September 2nd, an unknown person or persons stole a Troy-built push mower and a Craftsman tiller from a residence on Foster's West Road in Jacksonville. And on August 28th, the gray 2001 Toyota Tundra was stolen from a location near Tredegar Road and Nesbitt Lake Road in Jacksonville. Inside the truck were various Ryobi power tools, Asus laptops, Samsung Note 4, an engagement and wedding ring set stolen at that time. And between June 23rd and September 4th, a ROM .22 caliber revolver was taken from a residence on Forest Lane in Alexandria. And last up this week on September 7th, burglary was reported from a storage unit on Highway 21 South in Oxford. Stolen from that unit was a John Deere Z960 mower, a Karshner pressure washer, 4 steel weed eaters, 2 steel blowers, a steel pole saw, 3 steel hedge trimmers, and a Honda push mower. And that's it for the Crime Stoppers portion of our show. If you know anything about these cases, please give us a call at Crime Stoppers at number 256-238-1414. Remember, we want your information and not your name.
Stupid! You're so stupid!
All right, for our crazy criminal this week, John, we're going to go to Denver.
Denver.
Yeah, and no, it has nothing to do with marijuana shops, but it's
Surprising.
something you smoke.
Yes.
An e-cigarette shop. We got a picture here. Now, this is a still image taken from the security cameras. There's actual video. I wasn't able to get that prepared for us here, and there's a reason why I didn't want to show all the video. But the black object that you can see there on the counter, that is the gun that the man in the black shirt pulled out to try to rob the e-cigarette shop.
I see.
He pulls it out, and it slips out of his hand and across the counter.
Oops.
Things have turned around pretty quickly.
Oops.
So he then turns around to leave before the clerk picks up his weapon and uses it against him. And if we were watching the video here, you would see that his pants then fall down as he's leaving the store. Clumsiest criminal. I was tempted to show the pants falling down, but I figured that that might not be the most appropriate thing here.
The censors would probably have a field day with that. Jeez. And you say this has nothing to do with smoking marijuana. And
Well,
I disagree. The guy's just like,
may
hey,
have.
dude, I'm going to go rob a store. It's like, whoa, here's my gun. Oh, wow, man, that's bad. And then he turns around and, yeah, oops.
I imagine in your 60-year law enforcement career, you've probably run across a couple of people that that you just say, you know, you're just really not cut out for this life of crime.
Yes, there are several of those. You ever thought about doing something different?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. And I guess they caught him because he tripped over his pants and fell face first into the door.
Yeah. So it didn't work out too well for him, but worked out just perfectly for the good guys.
Yes, the good guys.
All right.
One for the good guys.
All right, so that's all the time that we've got for this week. Check us out on Facebook. You can see the videos there with the lineup if you missed this week's lineup or need to see what we're trying to find out with the Crime Stoppers segment of the show, any of the property crimes. You can go to the Facebook page and those videos post up on there and you can see all that. And we'll be looking for you again next week, but hopefully not in the lineup on Calhoun County's Most Wanted.